Povos indígenas somos civilizações antigas que mantemos nossa memória e nossa identidade viva. Sendo 5% da população, mais de 5.000 povos ao redor do planeta, é em nossos territórios que se mantém viva mais de 80% da biodiversidade que existe no mundo. Nós mantemos a memória, a cultura do respeito ao ciclo da vida. O planeta é um organismo vivo, que hoje está adoecido devido à ação humana, os ataques da exploração dos recursos naturais, como a mineração, o agronegócio, e uma doença que se espalha, a doença do egoísmo, que gera o desequilíbrio ambiental, as mudanças climáticas, essa enorme pandemia, colocando toda a nossa vida em risco. Nós somos povos contemporâneos, estamos juntos no mesmo barco, na mesma nave, na mesma casa, na mesma terra, bebemos a mesma água, respiramos o mesmo ar. Somos natureza, somos humanos, somos indígenas. Quem decide o destino da humanidade é a própria natureza, escutando, respeitando, cultivando, permitindo que a vida siga seu ciclo, nós também continuaremos a viver. A mudança necessária não está fora, está dentro de nós. O que podemos aprender com nossos passos, o que podemos aprender com o nosso mundo para dar continuidade à nossa existência?
The Kimberley in Australia's remote northwest is one of the most ecologically intact regions in the world. But remoteness alone can't protect it forever, and now it's under increasing threat from modern-day activities. Traditional owners who've lived here for thousands of years are taking the lead in caring for their country, teaming up with scientists and government to create an Indigenous-led marine protected area. I'm excited to see this collaboration. Through my work as a marine scientist, I've become passionate about bridging the gap between traditional knowledge and science. Over 800 islands make up the Kimberley's Buccaneer Archipelago, a place rich in biodiversity. Yet it's now under threat from development and climate change. Coral often provides an early warning system, so I'm meeting Liam Rawlins from the Kimberley Marine Research Centre, who's been monitoring local coral for signs of stress.
What's so important about these corals in the Kimberley?
One of the biggest standout features is their exposure to the elements on the low tide. We sort of have that 9 metre tidal range here, which isn't seen too many other places of the world. You know, they've got this thermal resilience which we don't see with a lot of other corals.
The coral here can withstand unprecedented temperature extremes of up to 8 degrees Celsius a day, enabling it to better cope as ocean temperatures rise.
So we use a monopod. Every metre we get a shot, and it's the same photo year after year and month after month.
So where do we go?
So basically there's little
spots.
pink marks along the line. And what we're chasing here is just that little spirit level into the centre.
Oh, that's quite tricky to get it to stay still, isn't it? And take a picture.
Dead easy. And then we carry on.
Okay.
60 more to go.
This simple method allows Liam to compare the state of the coral over a period of time. And he's noticed signs that even this heat-resilient coral is reaching its limit.
This guy here is fully bleached. He's got no algal growth on it.
Bleaching occurs when the water is too warm and algae, the coral's food source, is expelled.
So it's really completely white. It's really glowing almost, isn't it?
It's just a huge picture. You would look at your reef as your ecosystem engineer, and to lose that building block, you've just lost your structure, you've lost your community. It's like taking someone's house away. And we have this ecosystem out here which is pristine, but it is also on the cusp of having these bleaching events, so it's definitely something we need to keep a very close eye on.
Corals support a quarter of the world's marine species, but scientists predict that up to 90% could disappear by 2040. It makes creating a marine park here even more urgent. Leading the way is the Indigenous Bardijawi community. Their ranger team regularly works closely with scientists.
So we've got this big, huge reef here, so you can do that reef.
Today, marine biologist Scott Whiting is joining them to carry out a research trip, known as a turtle rodeo.
Your little point here is a really dramatic turning point. They all sort of come round. Yeah.
There's a turtle on your ranger badges, so they must be pretty important to you guys.
The stories and history will reflect turtle has been the closest sea creature to the Bari people.
You know, Bari Jawi people, we're saltwater people. We've always lived off the ocean. We still go hunt and do get turtle and share with our tribe.
For thousands of years, the Bari Jawi have hunted green sea turtles sustainably. These days, their knowledge of the turtle's behaviour is proving invaluable to scientific conservation efforts.
Working with local people, it's really important. I don't think I'm anywhere near understanding completely what local people know about turtles.
It's important that we put a management plan out there, to make sure there's abundance of turtle for our future generations,
But recent pressures mean they can't do it alone.
We don't have that other data from other areas to show the full effect of what's happening, basically. But didn't really think about climate change, pollution.
We need to work with science and with the knowledge that we have as traditional owners to better the environment, not just for turtles, for fish, the healthiness of everything that lives in the sea.
In 2019, the Bari Jawi people presented their design for the Buccaneer Archipelago Marine Park. It's now in the planning phase and likely to cover over 6,000 square kilometres of combined native title area. Integrating both modern science and Indigenous cultural values from this early stage is rarely achieved. For now, it's time to hit the water and put the planning into action.
So apparently there was a crocodile sighted earlier this morning, so we better hop out of the water fast, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're pretty much safe.
All right.
Unless it's a really big one and it's really hungry.
Where's the best spot for me to stay out of the way? Here? Oh, yeah, there he is. Here we go.
This is why they call it a turtle rodeo. The rangers jump off the boat straight onto the turtle's back.
Wow. Gave us quite a run around, but eventually that one quick jump and he's straight on the boat. Incredible.
So these biopsy samplers are pretty good because you can just compress that down the top. And so what we'll be able to do is tell where those turtles have come from, and that will aid us in management.
So we're just tagging the flippers of the turtle now, and they put individual tags on each flipper, so if one gets lost, the other one can still be useful.
Time to move on to the main boat, and I've been trusted with the tape measure.
Pull that little bit of skin up at the front there.
Right.
Just where the carapace, where the hard shell meets that skin, there'll be a line.
No room for being gentle, eh?
Handling the turtles may look rough, but it doesn't harm them. Greens are globally endangered, and gathering this data is vital for their conservation.
67.5. Yep.
She's got to get to 97 centimetres before she breeds. The more food there is, the faster they can grow. So hopefully, for the health of the population, that's happening.
This trip is part of the rangers' scientific training. After this, they'll be independently catching turtles and collecting data on a regular basis.
Aston, is this technique something you were taught when you were very young?
That's the first thing you learn before you even touch a spear. You jump on a boat with your uncle or father or grandfather. They'll take you out for hardwood, little small turtles, just for fun to get you learning on how to jump.
It's clear there's real merit in using traditional knowledge in scientific research.
Scientists sometimes will get a snapshot, a very brief insight into what's happening in the environment. So what the traditional knowledge can bring is that longer term knowledge. It brings together two knowledge systems, for a greater benefit.
The Buccaneer Archipelago is so remote that until recently, scientists knew very little about it. And there's one place of extraordinary biodiversity they would never have found without the Bari Jawi. But getting there today is proving tricky.
You can really understand why it's so hard to do research out here when you've got tides like this rushing through, the boat's hardly getting through the passes.
11 knots, it's staying still.
11 knots!
These extreme tides may be difficult to navigate, but twice a day, as the waters recede, a hidden world is revealed.
It's quite unique. What the tides bring to this place changes everything. We have seagrass here, which the turtles rely on. When the tide goes out, these rock pools here and these pools of water get extremely hot, approaching 40 degrees. they're living at the edge, but they seem to be thriving.
Working with researchers, we started to understand that the grass grow 1 centimeter a day.
Wow, that's really fast.
So if we got good seagrass, we should have healthy turtles.
This growth is unprecedented for a plant that is vulnerable to ocean warming. And as seagrass absorbs carbon dioxide up to 35 times faster than a rainforest, its conservation is crucial. It's extraordinary discoveries like this that are driving the creation of the marine park.
This area, it hasn't been mapped ever before, and so that's the big thing, is mapping it all out, knowing where you want to protect things.
We all got the clan groups in, and they started mapping their own areas. What they value, put into marine parks, planning for zoning and all that type of areas that you want to protect. But even if you're indigenous or a Western scientist, we still got the same objective to protect the country for future.
The Buccaneer Archipelago Marine Park should be established by 2024, with scientists saying that at least 30% of the world's oceans need protection in the next decade. Creating a refuge in areas like this goes a long way to achieving that goal. And working with Indigenous people is proving essential to safeguarding biodiversity.
Can you tell me what the marine environment means to you as saltwater people, the Badi Jawi people?
I believe we can't be separated. The sea and whatever is in the sea, it is what we are, who we are. We have to look after country, and we have to keep it as it was when I was young. I have to do the right thing, otherwise I fail my people. I fail the Badi way.
I am part of the Otomi Toltec indigenous community, which is located in the highlands of central Mexico. And for me, coming from an indigenous background means that I live my life in a more holistic way, one of reciprocity, where we acknowledge that what we give to the earth is what the earth gives to us. And so it's our responsibility as humans to protect that relationship. When I grew up, I had the idea that everybody saw the world the way I did, that everybody had this innate love for Mother Earth. I soon realized that that relationship was being broken by a lot of different companies and extractivist projects around me. I see it now as my role to communicate to people that indigenous philosophy is not only for indigenous peoples. Anybody can embody that philosophy of reciprocity, that anybody can have a connection with Mother Nature. I think that indigenous communities are not only being neglected but also disrespected, and that is really evident when you see a lot of industries that are perpetuating the climate crisis actually going to indigenous communities to put their infrastructure up. You can see that with fracking, with pipelines, with waste sites, with all sorts of polluting infrastructure. So that is why the fight for the dignity of indigenous communities is the same as the fight for climate justice. When you lose your forest, you lose part of your culture. And when you lose your culture, you lose your identity. It is our duty to tell people, you have to do a reset on your settings and connect with Mother Earth. You have to realize that right now we are living in a world that has lost its path, and we need to recover that path. And there are people who know the way.
The area surrounding the Serra do Roncador mountain range, in the heart of Brazil, is home to a unique ecosystem where the Amazon rainforest meets the tropical savanna of the Cerrado. The Xavantes are an indigenous people who have been living here for over 500 years. This territory is sacred to them. But their homeland is under threat. Climate change is impacting the landscape, and illegal invasions for logging, mining, soy plantations and cattle ranches are common occurrences here.
It's the same story all over Brazil. Indigenous land is being seized by profiteers enabled by a government focused on short-term gain at the cost of the environment.
But where indigenous people remain, nature flourishes. I'm on my way to meet the ancestral guardians of this land. There are 18,000 Xavantes, and 1,500 of them live here. Loa Aue.
Olá, meu Rafael. Aqui é Pimenta Barbosa, é a aldeia mãe, é daqui que foi criado as 16 aldeias. A gente está há muito tempo, né? A gente teve muitos problemas, mas hoje a gente está vigiando, olhando, né? Porque essa terra é importante. Aqui o espaço era tudo verde, esse cerrado aqui era tudo verde.
Chief Supta takes me to see an old house, which around 40 years ago was occupied by a group of over 20 farmers.
Em uma das fazendas, invadiram, aí o pessoal montou uma estratégia para expulsar. Na parte dos fazendeiros queriam matar, estava tudo armado. Aí o pessoal chegou de surpresa, né, desarmou todo mundo, aí expulsou todo mundo.
Ni wate re ne to ora ju hasimi dam si o motora si wa pari ramo
na abaji mari ro buni manota to da banore ha tiro watu re wa tiro watu wa tu.
O Arazu, ele tem um outro mundo, tá tudo diferente. Antes era mata, hoje é só pasto. Então as aves sumiram. O que está acontecendo no mundo? Será que é o fogo? Será que é o Arazu que quer criar o mundo de novo? Eu acho que começou daí, né? De homem ter um olho grande, né?
Invasions, such as the one at this house, forced the Shavantes to fight for the rights to their land from the 1960s onwards.
Como é que você se sente em relação aos seus ancestrais nessa coragem de autodemarcação?
Eles montaram uma estratégia assim para expulsar os invasores da terra, né? Assim, sem machucar ninguém. Aí com isso, né, chamou a atenção da FUNAI, do governo, e foi a partir daí que os nossos pais conseguiram demarcar.
One of the people instrumental in this process was Urođena, who was voted in as Brazil's first indigenous congressman in 1982.
Ele sendo chavante, ele articulou em nome do povo chavante, em nome das etnias também. Ele foi importante, assim, de ele falar na Câmara o que está acontecendo. Com essa articulação dos indígenas, né, a gente recebeu respeito.
In 1988, a new constitution was passed, which recognized indigenous people as the first occupants of Brazil. The Shavantes were given the legal rights to their land, an area of more than 328,000 hectares. But despite this, the invasions continue. In 2019, there were 8 in Pimentel Barbosa. Over the past 2 decades, the Shavantes have lost 18,000 hectares of their territory. Adalto is one of the lookouts responsible for guarding the border.
O que essa fronteira significa para você?
Ware ti a da te wartanoni ni ha wa mononi da te da wa pe bayarina ware rostro wa tonharina te ma da wa pe ban tayarina ware wa ton abani otto ne wa himana zebda ni ha wa sa zebre wa to ni ha wa to ni ha mari wa himano sira mononda ware wa toni a wena ri wa himano sira mononda siro madre tri wa zebra mononda.
Recently, the Shavantes were given a useful tool by a visitor, which has enhanced their surveillance capacity: a drone.
Eu vou mina tamo tu wanuri rote tamo vivo avanare né rimano undi o desesi undi a herde dre ire cascalhado mesmo.
With this drone, the Shavantes are able to watch over an area of 600 hectares at one time.
Com essa tecnologia a gente tem prova em mão. Se teve invasão ali, se eu falar, não, isso aí, não, tá aqui, né? Então, para isso é importante. E não por isso que eu vou deixar de ser chavante.
At Pimentel Barbosa, I've seen how the Shavantes are protecting nature by trying to keep intruders out. My next stop is the village of Hipá, where the community is preserving biodiversity using seeds.
Bom dia, cacique.
Bom dia. Bem-vindo.
A Zomori is a traditional expedition into nature. Today, the whole village is going on one to get their seeds, and I'm joining them. The bracelets, necklace, and paint, which is made from urucum seed and charcoal, are believed to have protective properties.
Marana ya de tu su ai sini wa tisime mononda tu wa ra da ruwi wa hui manaze wa te wa tau an tu ai wa da ra neri on tu rowi de.
Essa aqui?
Essa é o buriti com de pé, ele que guarda no semente, dentro da polpa. Essa semente é um buriti. Então vamos coletar?
I'm kind of losing the competition here. Just got a few, and they're quite fierce with the buriti. But tomorrow they were gonna put it in warm water for one day, and then they can have it for breakfast. Big part of the food supply of the village.
Back at Hipa, the seeds are weighed and sorted.
Você pode explicar a variedade de sementes que tem por aqui?
Dure, videron po wastaze, waranoni terihuri manaze. Izohan, iredahan, sirehan tu, terihuri ramanaze. Manamahama romnahan, dure wastaze. Mananahan tu, rawahuze nasihu manaze.
So they take the food, and then you have all the seeds, you boil it, feed your family. It's like a seed bank. This is real gold.
More than 600 kilograms of seeds are collected by the community at Hipa every year. Some are sold at local fairs to both indigenous and non-indigenous communities. And others, representing 52 species from this unique ecosystem, are planted on village land.
E por que você quer fazer esse grande cinturão de sementes em volta da aldeia?
Para cuidar, viver o indígena. Eu quero para a gente se proteger. Aqui na Iripá, fazer um pedaço da minha área em volta da aldeia, para reflorestar.
Chief Sumane's plan is that by cultivating this seed belt, the community can help to preserve the area's rich biodiversity.
Nossa, esse trabalho é genial, Sumané. Você está criando uma floresta dentro da aldeia, só de semente.
Esse é o nosso futuro do mundo Brasil, Ritó.
During my time here, I've gained a real understanding of how intricately connected the Shavantes' way of life is with the world around them, and how deep their knowledge of it runs. They are true defenders of nature, and their rights to remain here, serving as its guardians, must be defended too.
Nosotros como pueblos indígenas vivimos ahí, conectada ahí, nuestra selva, nuestro ambiente es la casa. Por miles de años nosotros como pueblos indígenas hemos venido respetando a ella, a la tierra madre, y nos ha dado vida. Guaraní de Pastaza nosotros vivimos todavía en armonía porque no existe carretera, porque no existe petrolera.
En el año 2018 el gobierno estaba pronunciando vender ese bloque en nuestra comunidad donde estamos viviendo sin consulta a nosotros, y nosotros empezamos a reunir, a hacer asamblea y decidimos que en nuestra casa no vamos a permitir, que no vamos a dejar que entre a destruir a nuestra casa y matar a nosotros. Y eso hemos decidido colectivamente en las comunidades guaraní de Pastaza y hemos hecho una demanda. Y primera vez en la historia en el Ecuador ha hecho un fallo para ya seguir defendiendo esa área que tenemos 180.000 hectáreas.
Si no, los guaraní y pueblos indígenas seremos desaparecidos. Y también cuando desaparecemos la selva amazónica, nos afectaría en cambio climático global donde estamos viviendo este planeta. Un mensaje final, yo diría que primeramente daría mensaje al gobierno, los líderes mundiales, que respeten nuestra casa, que no más explotación, que no más contaminación. Estamos también defendiendo para futuras generaciones por sus hijos. Por eso es importante. Yo daría mensaje a la gente que están escuchando, la gente que tiene ese amor y corazón. Queremos que hagan nuestra alianza, que junte esa lucha. No esperen solamente que esa lucha sirve para pueblos indígenas, sino todos los humanos que vivimos en la tierra.